My name is Dean. I'm here with Gaming with Madness. Today we're going to talk about Teotihuacan, City of the Gods. Yes, I had to look up how to pronounce the name myself. It is a game for 1 to 4 players that plays very well balanced, solo up through 4 players. You are playing one of the major families trying to build the pyramids and score favor with the gods, more so than your opponents. The game is a worker placement game with an interesting twist. The workers are these die that will level up as you use them, and you are going to be managing the resources you have in order to perform more actions than your opponents. So here we have the board set up basically for 4 players. Each player is going to get 4 of these tiles at random to begin with. On these tiles they get to choose 2, and those 2 tiles are going to tell them the resources they start with plus the locations where they put their 3 die out on the board. The main locations for doing actions are all numbered, which is where we find these numbers here. And that is how we set our board up. Once everybody is set, we start the game. The game will consist of one of 2 basic actions during your turn. If I am the red player, I can either 1, take one of my workers and move it 1, 2, or 3 spaces. When I do that, I can then either pay cocoa, depending on how many workers were already there from other players, to do the main action spot, or I can go here to the temple and pray and take one of these 2 actions, or pay cocoa and do more actions. So cocoa you'll find is your currency throughout the game, and it helps you leverage more actions as you go around. Another option I have during my turn is to take one of my workers and move 1, 2, or 3 spaces again, but I could instead take cocoa. There are already two different colored die there, so I could take the number of colored die plus 1 in extra cocoa. These different spots around the board, they allow me to gather resources or to spend them. Down here, this spot allows me to spend my wood and stone to buy one of these pieces and add it to the pyramid. And while doing so, hopefully turning it so that I can score more points. Spot like this allows me to build some of these houses, which helps move me up this scoring track and score points at the same time. This spot will allow me to build decorations on the steps on my pyramid, scoring more points. And this spot allows me to again worship in some of these spots, which will give me some bonuses during the game and possibly allow me to buy another one of these tiles. Most worker placement games, you are placing a meeple on a spot and no one else can go there. What is a little different about this is that others can still go here. However, I can make it more expensive for them to do this spot. I can make it uneconomical for them if I see they don't have enough cocoa. I can force them to go somewhere else to get cocoa first while I move on and do something else. And it's an interesting mechanic to me that the meeples level up and are more experienced, get you more, that makes them more useful. However, you have to balance that with making sure you have enough food to feed them, or get them up to 6 before the turn to feed and score so that they get started back at this spot as a level 1 worker again and cost less food. The game will end in one of 2 ways. We build this pyramid. When the last tile is placed on top, we will finish out the round, and then the game will be over. The other way that it ends is after each of us takes a move, this white disc will start moving towards the black disc. This is our eclipse track, or our solar track. When this meets the black disc, we finish the round. We do a scoring round. We move the black disc 1 space and we start over. And after everybody does their turn, you keep moving this up until you do that 3 times. There will be 3 scoring rounds, or the game will end when the pyramid is finished. I would say this is a medium weight game. There is a lot going on. However, as you can see from the explanation, once you learn a little bit of the iconography, there is a lot to do, but it is not as complex as the back of the box makes it look. It is a fun strategic game, manipulating your workers, trying to avoid other people's workers, and purchasing and building the temple. Once you've played this a little bit and you're interested in some expansions, we have this expansion, the late pre-classic period, which adds some asymmetrical abilities as well as adding new tiles for the board and new board spots. We also have this one, the Shadow of, and I'm going to probably butcher the last part of the name, Ixidal. It adds more starting tiles and more technologies and tiles for you to score on throughout the game.